Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh from the BioDude. Today I am going to talk about how to set up your ball python with one of my BioDude's Terra Firma ball python kits. Ball pythons are one of the most widely kept snakes in the hobby today, and for good reason, as far as their handleability, and as far as the fact that they don't need a ton of space, to stay comfortable. A lot of people like to keep them in rack systems and small tubs with paper towels with a pretty sterile environment. I, on the other hand, like to give them a more natural environment that suits, their instinctual habits and niches, which I have found your ball python to do exceptionally well in a planted vivarium. And that is what I'm going to go over with you guys today. So what I have here in front of me is a 29-gallon tank. It's actually the same dimensions of a 29, but it's actually about 3 inches higher. So this is actually about a 34-gallon, give or take. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize the substrate, and that is the BioDude Terra Firma substrate. All of my substrates are proprietary, made by me. And what makes this substrate so unique is that you don't need a drainage layer. So essentially what happens is it creates all of the essential air pockets that are needed to prevent bacterial growth, as well as retains all tunnels and burrows for your snakes. What makes this such a good product is that it creates humidity pockets, which I'm going to show you guys how to create. And what that does, it helps with hydration, respiration, shedding, and a bunch of other stuff with your snakes. So for starters, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to dump each bag of Firma into the bottom of the tank. Now this substrate in this bag is pre-moistened for you. However, you can add in a little bit more water if you would like, and I'm actually going to do that to this bag. So that way I can evenly distribute the moisture content a little bit better. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a container of water here, and I'm actually just going to grab the bag. I'm just going to dump a little bit in here. I used about a cup of water into this bag. Now all the water got absorbed by the Firma at the very bottom. Now I'm going to continue to dump everything in. And I'm going to do that for all the bags. So for a 29-gallon, I include 4 bags of Firma. That really does the trick for me as far as depth goes, and as far as giving you the levels and the comfortableness that your snake is used to. You can use more if you would prefer. I do sell larger bags of the Firma, 36 quart bags, which is 6 bags of these smaller ones. It is recommended to have at least a 2.5 to 3.5 inch layer of substrate, since you aren't using a drainage layer. One thing to keep in mind with the Terra Firma, the deeper the substrate, the better it's going to work. Because like I mentioned before, this substrate holds the humidity extremely well, while at the same time staying dry on the top layer, while keeping the middle layers and the bottom layers moist. This is extremely important for ball pythons because they are very active animals, but they're also very sedentary animals. If you have a substrate that's consistently moist on the bottom, that can cause skin infections, it can cause scale rot in your snakes. My substrate is designed to air itself out, well, like I said, to continually maintain the air pockets needed for proper root development, springtail and isopod development, and as well as making sure your substrate continues to thrive for your life of your snake. So after I get all of the bags dumped in here, you see I have a pretty good deep layer here, about 3.5 inches. I am then going to take one of my biodegradables, which is the Dude's New Zealand sphagnum moss. I'm going to cut it open. Now, I use this stuff 2 different ways. Half of it I'm going to mix into the substrate itself. The other half I'm going to scurry across the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to dump about 2 cups of water into this bag. Look at that, the bag holds all the water. I'm going to turn it like this, and then just kind of go like this. What this does is it has the moss absorb all the water without having to use pulse. Less cleanup. Then I'm going to take half of this bag right here, you can see. So half the bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread it across the entire top of the substrate. From there, I'm going to take both of my fingers and I'm going to work it into the substrate. Now what this is going to do, it's going to help with the humidity pockets. It's going to help with tunnel retention because the Firma is designed to maintain and hold all tunnels that your animals make. Like I said, the deeper the substrate, the more your animals get out of it. As well as helping create the beneficial air pockets and food for your springtails and isopods. I am then going to take the other half of the bag right now, and I'm just going to gently cover, or I shouldn't say cover, scatter the rest of the substrate with a little bit of the sphagnum moss and disperse it across the top. So, after that's all established, we have our initial layer of terra firma, or excuse me, our layer of terra firma. We have half of the bag of New Zealand sphagnum moss biodegradables integrated in with the firma, with the other half of the bag scattered across the top. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add in one of the most important backbones of a bioactive ecosystem, and that is the springtails and isopods. For ball pythons, I'll typically use dwarf purples just because they work extremely well. They are very prolific in semi-humid and even drier climates, and they breed very quickly and they're very small. This really helps build up your populations with your snake a lot quicker. So we have the springtails, which are arthropods. What the springtails do is they go through the substrate, creating beneficial air pockets for proper root development while breaking down organic matter. As they break down the organic matter, like your isopods, it puts essential nutrients back into the soil, thus rejuvenating the soil. It is a consistent process that happens in almost every biome in the planet. So it's as simple as taking your culture of springtails and dumping them in. You take your culture of isopods and you dump them in. You now have a tank with bugs in there, well, crustaceans and arthropods, excuse me, that are going to breed within this tank to create a sustainable population while cleaning your tank for you. For a tank this size, it's going to take a couple months to have all of your substrate become fully stuffed with all of these bugs. What you're going to notice is they're going to break down your snake's fecal matter and your snake's shed skin very quickly. They do not eat the urates. So with a ball python, spot cleaning is necessary even as your tank progresses with full bioactivity. But what you'll notice is you'll never ever have to change out the substrate. I've had some of my snake enclosures set up for 6+ years and I've never changed them. All I've done is add fresh biodegradables. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to give this tank a light misting on the top layer. Now I've got some fresh water right here. I always use dechlorinator. I really like Reptisafe. It's a really good product. It's as simple as opening it up, one drop in there, close it up. Okay, and then I'm just going to give this a nice mist here. Okay, after we got the nice mist down at the top, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the biodegradables. Last step of biodegradables, that's the leaf litter. Think of the leaf litter in your enclosure as the gas. So like the sphagnum moss, the leaf litter is going to break down. And as it breaks down, it puts essential nutrients back into the substrate, thus rejuvenating your substrate. Not only that, it really helps with your springtails and isopods because it's a food source for them. It also gives your snake a little bit of ground cover depending on the leaves that you use, because they blend in with it a little bit better. Look at gaboon vipers, rhino vipers, look at a ton of different snakes. One of their key adaptations is camouflage. And most of the time with camouflage, they either blending in with vines, leaf litter, or sand. Literally, that's typically how it goes. So what I'll do is I'll just mix a little bit of the leaf litter in with the Firma. Again, this is just to help out the springtails and isopods, as well as help with your substrate getting the organic nutrition that it needs. So I have the Firma, the New Zealand sphagnum moss, and the leaf litter. The next step that I'm going to do, which is by far my favorite step, is I'm going to start filling in this tank with some really nice stuff. So ball pythons like it snug, meaning they like to feel like they're stuck in somewhere that nobody else can get into. And that is one thing that I'm going to be doing to help make my little one feel at home. So I got a nice cork bark flat right here that's actually curved, so it's going to create a nice hide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a humid hide for her. I am going to be putting the heating element on this side of the tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncover some of the Firma, and I'm going to put the cork tube here like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bury the tube. Now what this is going to do is it's going to create almost like a sauna for your snake. Your snake is going to go into this hiding cave down here, a natural hiding cave, that's going to be pretty humid, which is what ball pythons like. And that's where a lot of your springtails and isopods are going to go. Where do your snakes typically go to the bathroom? Either in the water bowl or where they sleep. So that's going to help really keep this area nice and clean with your bugs. But the fact that they have a nice sauna, so to speak, really helps with hydration, respiration, and shedding. It helps with hydration because as your snake exhales through the process of osmosis, it loses water. Just like people, just like almost every animal on this planet. As we inhale humidity that's in the air, water that's in the air, we end up getting a little bit more hydrated. That is a key backbone to how snakes actually stay hydrated, especially ball pythons being from Africa. As well as the fact that it is a humid hide. Like I mentioned earlier, what that's going to do is really help with the shedding. And it's important with shedding because if a snake has a bad shed, it's most likely not going to eat, especially if it leaves eye caps. So I got this piece put on right here. I am then going to take one of my plants here. I did get some of my larger ones, which I really like. And I think I'm going to put one of the plants, I'll put this guy right here. Oh yeah, I'm digging this. This is looking nice. So I got this plant right here, and then I got a really nice fern right here. All the plants that I sell are organically grown without organic phosphates. Essentially what that means is that it doesn't have a bunch of junk on it that can poison your animals and poison your tank. It took me years to find my grower, years. There are very few growers that have the type of standard of not having a bunch of nonsense into the plants. So I got a plant right here and a plant right here. I got another piece of cork bark that I'm actually gonna put right like this to give her a little bit of something to climb on if she would choose to do so. Especially since the heating side, the hot side's over here. When picking out plants for your ball python, if you don't get the plants from me, you need plants that are durable and sturdy. Small shrubs, very small trees, larger ferns, things like that all do fantastic. And that's really, the best way that it thrives. So the next step that I'm going to do is heating. So I like to use the under tank heaters. I'll usually plop them right on the side here because the heat from this being on the side is going to push this way. What that's going to do is going to help create the humid pockets that I was telling you about, as well as have your snake thermoregulate. It is very important that you are monitoring your husbandry. I use the Vivarium Electronics Digital Thermal Hygrometer. It is accurate to 0.01 of a degree. It is the best out there. And I use it for almost all of my setups. I'm going to have a water dish put right here in the middle, so that way it's right in the middle side of the tank, so that way it's not in a too cold area or not too hot area, which I will change every day. I will also be misting this tank every single day. It is recommended to at least give it at least a 45-second mist. If you're like me and you like to have everything on a timer to lower your maintenance, I have all of my lights on a timer and I have all of my misting on a timer. And I use the Mist King. I say this in all my videos, I'm going to keep saying it in every video. Once you have one, you're going to have no idea why you didn't have one before. I sell this starter kit for $130 and includes one nozzle and a timer, a seconds timer. Everything that you need to have your tank be 100% misting, automated misting. What I love about it is it puts your vivarium on a schedule. Animals love schedules. I don't know what it is. Typically, if it rains every single morning, your animal's going to be out at that time in the morning to drink the dewdrops. Veiled chameleons in the wild, every single morning before it gets too hot, they are eating the plants and they're eating the dew droplets onto the plants because they know at that point that is the best time that they can get rehydrated. So, after we take all this into consideration, the next step is getting this fun thing lit up. In all of my BioActive kits that are animal specific, I always include my LEDs. What I love about these LEDs, they have the red and blue diodes in them to help bring out colors in your plants, as well as the white to illuminate the tank. These are optimal for your plant growth, as well as bringing out the colors in your animals, but do not provide so harsh of a spectrum that it blinds them. So then what I'm going to do, as I'm still waiting on my lid to come in the mail, I'm making a little bit of a makeshift type of thing so I can display the light here to you. So, the light always comes with this adapter. It is a 6-foot cord adapter that has the switch to it. I also sell the LED props, which are by far one of the amazing things that I carry. Makes your LED look like it's floating, and it also disperses your light a little bit more evenly to give your tank a really nice appearance. Plug in the LED. Look at that. That looks really nice. Now, what you're going to notice here with ball pythons and a bioactivity is you're going to notice your snake exploring. You're going to notice your little one actively looking around and burrowing, creating the tunnels like they would in the wild. That wasn't supposed to happen. So, my makeshift lid did not work. But that's okay. I got it all right here so that way you guys can see. Again, it's one of those things that with these snakes, there are a lot of different ways to keep them. But like myself and amongst the hundreds upon hundreds of other people that are utilizing my system, they now have almost all of their ball pythons on this system. I have some clients that utilize the racks that actually use my BioActive substrates and their tubs and culture the springtails and isopods themselves with the kits purchased from me and make all of their tubs bioactive to help cut back the cleaning as well as help with humidity retention in the tubs. That does help your snake. So, let's see here. Other than that, guys, this is the way to go. Again, my name is Joshua Halter. I am the owner of the Bldg. You can visit me online at www.thebiodg.com. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow the dude on Facebook. Thank you all very much. The dude abides.